Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. This is the Belmond Community School District, Belmond Klemme Community School District Board of Directors meeting. Tonight is the 17th of October, 2024. It is just a hair past 7 o'clock in the evening, and I want to have the roll call, please.
Gary Berkland.
Here.
Ryan Meyer.
Here.
Joel Boozman.
Here.
Rick McDaniel.
Here.
Michelle Murphy. Here. Kevin Ring.
Here.
Jim Swenson.
Here. We have a full house, that's good. I welcome all the visitors. I'm glad they're here. Have we received any communications from anyone? Either orally or written? We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I promise to keep it appropriately lengthy. I'm going to make a few comments about the passing of a longtime instructor of our school district, Lynn Sorm. Lynn Sorm and I were good friends. I met him shortly after I came to this school back in 1972. Lynn Sorm was a consummate director of many, many plays and musicals in our school district. He had advanced placement, literature and English courses that he taught. And Lynn was a good friend of mine. Lynn Sorm taught both of my daughters, and they both will say to a person, the best instructor they ever had at the Belmond, at that time, the Belmond Community School District, was Lynn Sorm. He taught them principles, hard work, and dedication to the craft of stagecraft as well as coursework. And Lynn he loved music, he loved drama, and he loved his kids. And so with his passing, we're going to take 30 seconds and remember Lynn Sorm on behalf of the entire district. God go with Lynn and his family. We'll move on. I need a motion to approve or amend the agenda. The amendment.
I have one amendment.
Yes.
Scott Meyer's contract should say 30 hours and not 25.
25. Okay.
I'm sorry, McKenna, I forgot to tell you that. It's 30.
So I'm looking for a motion to
I'll second.
as amended. Rick, second. Any other comments? Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Moving on to the consent item. I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Michelle,
I'll make a motion.
Rick,
I'll second.
any discussion? Lots of detail here.
I just want to let you know that the HVAC service agreement that's on there, that is something that we'll get that money reimbursed back to us because of the insurance that we just started getting. So that's kind of a nice thing to do. So I want to make sure to let you guys know that.
Really makes it a no-brainer.
Right?
To approve. Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Moving on to reports,
Well, the first two we don't have here. Our SIAC meeting got canceled.
right?
And I'm not sure about the other one. So let's start with principal reports.
Let's do that.
Here I am.
I don't have a ton to update this month, which is weird. Truth be told, I messaged Jen. I said, this has been such a busy month, but I don't really know what to update you with. Everything's been very busy. But I did get a few things. I think the last month, we've had some time, October 4th, we had a professional development day, and we took a lot of time that day to focus on safety across the district. And through that, I think there was a lot of really good conversation and problem solving, things of that nature in both buildings and our system in general. We also did some de-escalation work, just in terms of working with humans, whether they're kids or adults. So that was a good day, well spent. And obviously, we're going to continue to refine our safety protocols and things of that nature, so those conversations and refinements continue. We still don't have any elementary counselor applicants, so that remains open. So we continue to share our counselor, Ms. Peterson, with the high school. We've also, if you remember last month, I had shared with you that our staff chose, with our action planning and our goal setting, they chose 4 goals, right? They chose a reading goal, and a math goal, and then a climate and culture goal for adults and for students. And so ultimately they have 4 work teams. One of those work teams or committees is for this student climate and culture. We would also incorporate PBIS into that. So we are a PBIS school historically. So that's positive behavior interventions and supports. And my understanding is several years ago, we kind of went through a full training and launch and adoption, so to speak. But as the years have gone, it's kind of, I don't want to use the word fall apart, I suppose, but there's been some staff turnover and not necessarily the continued training. And so that is certainly on our radar, and that's been something that we've been focusing a lot on. So that committee, but also outside of that committee, we've just been having conversations, taking a peek at our PBIS handbook, figuring out what's still applicable, what still works, what refinements we might suggest, and then identifying the specific training that we need, really just to better enhance our PBIS system and how we support our kids at Jacobson. And so that's going to be a continued effort. That's not something that will just all of a sudden tomorrow it will, we'll get everything perfect, but it's certainly a really big focus across the district, across our building, district probably too, but across our building, and all the staff are dedicated to see that through. So there's been a lot of work to be done, so more will be coming, I'm sure, but we've got some music concerts coming up. Forgot to write the dates down, but those are coming up soon. And I know Mrs. Klemme has been working very hard with her kiddos. Something fun, Mrs. Klemme, Jackie Klemme is our music teacher at the elementary. Her mom is a music teacher. She was her only music teacher her whole life. So I approached her a few weeks ago and I said, has your mom ever come in and just co-taught with you for a day or half a day or something? And something fun. She said, no, could she? I said, let's make it happen. She's coming tomorrow. And they're going to co-teach for the day. And she is on cloud 9. I might be on cloud 10 if there's such a thing, but I think that's going to be really special for her. I think the kids, I put it on morning announcements this morning. So in morning announcements, I have a get to know your staff members, a staff member clue. So I asked all the staff across the building to submit 3 fun facts about themselves. And I picked one of the fun facts for one of the staff members and I put it on announcements every day just as a way for kids to get to know the people that they're working with and supporting them. And yesterday's clue was that this person's mom is a music teacher and, who is it? And then today it was yesterday and I announced it was Miss Klemme, and also with that, Miss Klemme's mom's going to be here tomorrow. Everybody was so excited. And I think she had told some people, but lots of chatter in the hallways. So I think that will be a special memory for her and for the kiddos. We're also, again, in the vein of climate culture, positivity, the adult side of things, our adult climate culture committee is really focused on finding fun ways to just bring some connection across the building. They've got a couple fun events next week. We're gonna do some staff pumpkin decorating, a contest on Tuesday. We're gonna stay after school on Tuesday and decorate pumpkins. And we're gonna vote, or the kids are gonna vote on the best pumpkins that the staff made. And we also are submitting our baby photos for kids to look at and try to guess who is who, and for staff to look at and guess who is who. So I think those are just kind of fun. And at the end of the month, we are gonna come over to the high school. They have their fall play. And we're gonna come, most of our classes, not all of them, but most of them are going to come and watch a little matinee at the end of the month. So we've got a lot of things going. So I guess I did have some updates, Jen.
You did.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions? How many of our current staff have been active in the PBIS program?
Not as many as you would think. That's why it's just,
I wondered, because I haven't heard much about it, even last year.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things we've talked about is just having a plan in place for what are the things that are so important, we need to make sure every new staff member, when they come in, has training on it.
Right.
And so that would be one of those things, because often we train and then we're like, well, we trained everybody. Well, that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, right.
and truth be told, we do have a PBIS handbook, but many of our staff did not even know that we had one. So that might go to tell you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? None? If you wish to go home, if you were a student.
CK, do you want to go before me? Or do you want me to go so that you can get a chance to catch your breath, or are you ready?
Oh, it don't matter. Did you guys already go?
No, they haven't.
Okay, good. So I'm like, some of them, let's move. Some of them might.
So are they the FBLA group?
No,
No.
these are our school board reps.
Okay,
Will Hayes and Will Simonson. So
gotcha.
they're gonna join us every month.
We didn't put them on the agenda as a report, so.
Yeah, well, I don't know, they may not want to talk.
We just
about
did.
Yeah, no, we'll let them.
Yeah, we just
I'm
did.
prepared anything, but I can definitely get some stuff off the top of my head.
it. You go first and then I'll follow you. How about that?
All right, yeah.
Because I don't want to say the same thing.
No, I haven't
you
thought of
said.
anything. It's been a lot of stuff that's been
Been a
going
crazy
on.
one.
Yes. Homecoming, obviously that was exhausting, honestly. It's fun, and I think everybody in the schools, teachers, and all the kids will say it. Like, it's fun, but exhausting. Like, especially, I don't want to brag, but for me, I was involved in everything. I was the winner of the pizza eating contest, so
I saw that, nice
Yeah.
job.
might have puked a little bit, but it's worth it. What else? Obviously, the play is coming up. It's been brought up a few times. I'm pretty excited about that. I am Prince Charmless, so
Charmless.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's accurate to my personal character, but that's what I'm playing. So
What's the title of the play?
it's Prince Charmless. So what else? What am I missing here, Will?
I can't really think of much. I'm not too involved in some events. So.
What about your esports?
Esports. Just had a game today. We won.
All right.
I think we played against the Alphabet. There's so many teams, and it's just like QRTWS or something like that. So I just say we're playing against the Alphabet.
Okay.
We've started strong with Siege, and then I'm sorry, I had to remember. Super Smash Bros. Has started even stronger. They've been doing very well. I'm not sure what their exact record is, but it's better than ours. So,
How many teammates now?
teammates, I have 6 teammates right now on varsity.
And we have a JV team too that also has 6, right?
I believe so. It might be 5, at least for
Okay.
Siege. I don't know the exact numbers for Super Smash Bros.
It's about 6 probably.
I think it's a lot more.
Is it more?
Yeah.
I believe there's 5 that play at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few they rotate in and out
Oh, right.
with specialties and stuff they have. It's all about strategy like any other sport. you got players that are stronger in a certain area, and you know the school you're gonna play is weaker in that area, you play that stronger player. So, a lot of strategy goes into it.
Anyone else? Bill, do you want to, anything you want to add? Well, I'll bounce off of the homecoming thing. We did have a great homecoming. That's my least favorite week of the whole year. But it was
You
good.
did nice decorations though.
We got a nice car ride too.
I did have some nice decorations. I had a gator ride. It was not the best in the world. Sidewalk with curbs, and it was a little dangerous, but, and your superintendent was driving, so if that tells you anything.
I can show you guys a picture that's a really perfect example of our
And Haley's in the middle, so you know she's safe.
I saw you guys on the
Because Jen and I are on the outside holding her in. I'm hanging out one side.
You were safe on Main Street when I saw you by the hospital.
Oh, you didn't see us out here.
dramatic.
You were fine.
Yeah.
You should have just stayed on the convertible.
Oh,
I know, I should have been the queen candidate, right?
We had a good time.
No, we had,
Put that on a poster by the end of the year.
you should.
It looked like fun.
So, I mean, it was a great week, and the parade was amazing. I don't know how many businesses and that we had involved, but we turned the corner down here to come by the elementary, and it was full all the way this way and full all the way behind us. So it was amazing. And so we're gonna make sure that we do that again. So that was lots of fun. Ending of of our seasons, fall seasons are coming to an end real quick. Cross country runs in the state qualifying meet next Wednesday in Waverly. The volleyball team plays first regional round next Wednesday in Lake Mills. And then we've gained a week 9 football game against Eagle Grove next Friday. We'll play West Fork tomorrow night and then Eagle Grove next Friday. So all that'll come to an end, and quickly we'll turn around and we'll start basketball, and then we'll go full speed ahead again. So, the play 1st and 2nd of November, so make sure that you get your tickets and come to that. We do have 7 choir students that are trying out for All-State, and that'll be, I believe, a week from Saturday is when that happens. So I hope that somebody makes that. FFA had their elevator meal yesterday. They served in Klemme and Rowan and here. And then they leave for state or national convention on Tuesday. And I think there's 7 of them going. So that'll be exciting for them. And then on next Thursday, we have the first quarter. So 9 weeks down. It's been a really fast 9 weeks. So keep plugging away and doing what we do, right? Anybody have any questions for me?
I gotta give 2 kudos to 2 different interactions I've had with your students yesterday and today. Number 1, the FFA meals, spot on. I don't think that they realize how appreciated those are out here.
Yeah.
The second one was a young man that's a junior here, and I know when I came in, you said that there was a student out this morning that was playing firefighter, but you know, here's a young man that's in the community. Unfortunately, at 5 o'clock this morning, I had to pick up the phone and call 911. First truck out, here's this junior in high school, dressed in his gear. He got up out of bed, he's on the first truck out, and he outworked nearly every one of those firefighters. I know he's labeled a junior firefighter. For 6 hours, these guys fought that fire.
Wow,
And he was front and center through the whole thing.
that's community right there.
It is. You know, talk about the lessons of teamwork, of dedication. You know, that's the kind of kid that I want to stick around in this town when,
Absolutely.
you know, when he graduates.
Yeah,
So,
that pager goes off during the school day, and he goes by Kristen and says, "Got a fire," and he'll go fly out that door. Yeah, you know, he's the most dedicated kid, and
he is.
you know, he came back to school and he did his schoolwork, and then he went to football practice, and who knows what he's doing now, you know?
I mean, here's a 16 or 17-year-old kid. His pager goes off at 5. Boom, he's gone. And he never stopped working that whole. He was not observing anything. He was in the middle of it all.
Great, good.
That's it. Any other questions? After that, how do you top that? I mean, that's awesome. You two can CK, or, excuse
Yeah,
me,
you guys
go out
can
and
go.
take off. You don't have to stick around. We've asked you all the questions we can answer.
Wow, perfect. Perfect. We'll see you all tomorrow night. How about that?
I
Sounds
hope
good.
so.
It's
With
senior
another
night,
win. We have 2 wins, by the way.
and it's senior night tomorrow
And
night
it's
too,
senior
so.
night.
We could
Yes,
have
it
4
is.
by the end of the season. you
Senior
know?
night for football, cheer, esports, and cross country. So all those will have senior night tomorrow night. Right, Will?
Yep,
All right.
Will your mom cry?
probably, yeah.
All right.
Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report.
So, I wanted to first let you know that we, got our certified enrollment, and unfortunately, we went down in certified enrollment this year. Our enrollment is 606 kids, that's down 37 kids. So, I've had several opportunities in the last couple of weeks to be with some of the other superintendents in the state. It seems like that's kind of what's happening all over the state right now, is, except in Waukee and Van Meter.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Those are just busting at the seams, but, so that'll mean some adjustments that we'll have to just figure out and see what we need to do, and so we'll be working on that. We had ICAT come in and do an audit of our facilities, and we found out that the AEA will do an audit of our technology. So they're gonna be here next week, and they're gonna do an audit to kind of just help us make sure that we're on the right path that we need to be on. Trish will be working with them next week to kind of help them see what we have, and they'll be able to tell us if we have what we need and where we should go from here. So that'll be nice to have too, as part of our long-term planning. We have bus inspections tomorrow, so just be aware of that. I know Brandon's been working really hard to get those buses ready for that. One of the opportunities I had this week was to go to Rural School Advocates of Iowa meeting. It's a group that we're members of that works really hard on just advocating, especially to the legislature, for smaller schools, because our needs are so much different than urban schools are. So yesterday, or Tuesday night when I went down there, the purpose of it was to determine what our legislative agenda is going to be taking down to the legislature this year. And so the things that we agreed on as a group were adequate school resources and increased school assistance, looking at staff shortages and seeing what we can do about staff shortages. As Haley said, we're still down an elementary counselor, and our students are taking chemistry from Mason City online and taking physics from NIAC. So that staff shortage is starting to hit us, and hopefully it won't continue, but it's something that we need to make sure that we're thinking ahead for. Some other things is just looking at, again, making sure we have increased needs for mental health resources, expanding the educational savings of the ESAs for homeschool and new private schools, having preschool go up to full day preschool so that they would fully fund preschool. That one was a little bit more had a little bit more controversy. There were some schools that didn't have the room for it, and so they were like, it's not going to help us at all anyway. And let's see, and then the AEAs would be another point of contention, is just making sure that we look at improving those services and what can we do to help with all of that. So wanted to make sure you guys were aware of this. Lee, this is what I'm going to give you. It's a press release from them. So anyway, and then the last thing I was going to just tell you is on October 31st from 4 to 5 is Trunk or Treat on Main Street. I'm going to put a table out for our district office. So if any of you guys are interested and would like to introduces us. Her name is Tara, and she's from, I don't know. Sorry. So if any of you would like to join me for trunk or treating on Halloween, I would love it. It would be great.
Tara's gonna be there.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Any questions? for the superintendent. I just hope that the agenda can be, it'd be great to have it fully fulfilled, but I want to make a comment about the ESAs. I read a report in the state of Arizona, how they have been funding charter and private schools with public tax dollars, like we just started doing this last year now. But they've been at it for a number of years now. And what they've learned is that in most cases, the underserved and poor communities of the greater Phoenix area are unable or unwilling to take advantage of the private or charter schools because there's still a cost that has to be paid by those who have less economic resources. And therefore, for them, it's a loser. I say that's true for Belmond Klemme as well. Because how many kids from this school district end up going to private or charter schools? Virtually none. And so if you thought that you were going to get a better education going someplace else, what they're finding is it's not even economically possible for many of the people who live in those underserved areas, unless you've got a private school that you're willing to use and have the resources to pay the extra tuition to attend. And so, well, by and large, the biggest school district in Phoenix, Arizona, has found that almost all of the benefit to the private education monies goes to the richest schools, to the richest kids, and not much left over for the rest of the families because they can't afford to go to the private schools. Just want to say that because I think that's the insidious devil that faces all of us public educators like the BK school district. Because obviously, eventually, that money that could be used here to better educate our kids is not going to be available. Simple as that. Anyway, I told you what I read, what I heard, and what I considered. So just keep that in mind as we go down the legislative track for this next coming year. Moving on, action items. First one is the English learners shortfall. There is an allowable cost. Look at that. Let me get to that quickly. The amount's 110,000, is it not?
I think it's 100.
Oh, just 100, okay.
$100,913.96.
Okay. And if we get permission from the budget folks in Des Moines, we can then levy for that additional money to help us make certain that our kids who are having to learn a second language, we have the resources to pay for those expenses. And then you saw the history of what, 5 or 6 years worth of expenses that this district has incurred. And this year is a little bit lower than some of the highest. So I guess that's good news. That also may mean that we don't have as many staff as we probably could use for the English learners, especially in the elementary grades. So
We have about 80 English learners in the elementary school.
80, yeah. And I think what we have 2.5.
We have 2 teachers down there and then 1 full-time teacher up here.
No paras down there.
We've got paras though.
Okay.
Mhm. We're serving about 115 English language learners.
Okay, so I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second? Jim, any discussion on requesting permission to levy those additional dollars? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Next item, van purchase. Let's hear about it and then we'll make a motion. There is a van, as you see, was it 57,000?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
57.9.
57.9 that's available. You need to share with them how many miles it has on this van.
15.
It's almost worn out. It has to be a used van. I guess it's used. 15 miles.
we got approval from the DOT, yes, saying that we could, that would be allowable.
Then I need a motion to approve the purchase. Jim, do I have a second?
Also,
Joel, any discussion about this van? I think we're lucky to find one, that's what I
I
say.
think we're extremely lucky. I still, this law that says schools have to buy a used van. At one point in time, one of the dealerships down in Des Moines did a really good job with the legislatures to make sure they were gonna make money.
Yeah,
So
That we
I
have to
can
buy
show
a
you
used
pictures
van.
of this one. I think they figured out a workaround. That's what I'm thinking.
or with 15 miles?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're buying them, leasing them, and then selling them. That's what they're doing. They buy them, lease them for a short period of time, and then sell them.
One of the salesmen in the office buys it. And he springs right, that sells it.
However they do it, it'd be a lot easier if we could just buy it.
Just make the rule right.
yeah, but we did make sure that we got approval from the DOT.
Yeah, because 15 miles sounds kind of,
Yes.
if you just say that, DOT might say, oh, I don't know, but. okay,
Yeah.
It's hokey.
Yep.
Any other comments or discussion? All in favor, aye. Those nay? Motion's carried. Moving on, discussion. Woo, we're rolling, folks. Board policies. Did you read those? Boy, those are exciting.
It's interesting information.
Well, how you create a district that you're a legal entity. I mean, no. The good stuff is the important pieces in section 503.8, et
Yes.
cetera. That's the point. That's what you were referring to, Michelle, correct?
All of it.
Oh, good. These policy committee people just drive you nuts.
You understand, that's one of,
I
you
know,
know,
that's
that's
her-
one of the things she
That's one
enjoys
of her
doing.
babies.
I know.
I like the technicality.
So the first ones, the 100 series ones, are just, every 5 years, we have to review all of our policies. And so McKenna and I have been working very carefully on trying to see when the last time some of our policies were. And the last time we can see that the 100 series was reviewed was in 2016. We know that's probably not right, but we don't have anything else that tells us differently. So in the next few months, we're going to start bringing the 100 series to you. That's kind of the boring series. It's kind of all about, like Gary said, kind of us being here. So if you want to just look at those policies, and we'll have to, we just discussed them this month. Next month, we'll bring them for action, and you guys will have to approve those again. I did, one of the things that it does is it names Claudia Guerrera as our equity coordinator, and I did double check with her to make sure she was still okay with doing that, so she is still listed on there as that. The 503.8 is a new mandatory policy that's been put into place. And that one is almost directly from IASB. I looked at IASB and Forest City so that we could get this on here to kind of see between the two. And this is more about how students that make threats of violence will be disciplined. And so it lays out kind of how we'll take threats of violence, how we'll determine if it's a credible threat or a not credible threat, kind of our escalated response to what happens when those things happen based on ages and maturity level. So you can kind of see all of that there. I will tell you, we've had some situations, and typically my first thought is I call law enforcement. So I don't like to be the one that necessarily says whether it's a credible or a not credible threat. I've also told parents in the past that we don't have the luxury of being able to decide when it is and is not a credible threat. We've got to always treat it as though it is a credible threat. So, but this kind of gives some parameters, some things that we would look through and discuss in trying to determine whether something is a threat or not.
I completely agree with you on that. That's not in your job description.
Right.
And honestly, you don't have the ability to determine.
No, I don't. No.
So,
No, I do not.
503.8, I don't know if you guys remember, but last year you guys were given a model for a policy from the DE that you guys approved. ISB finally got it put into policy format, and that's what business.
Okay, thank
So you
you.
guys saw the model, but you never actually saw the model.
Sure.
Thanks, McKenna.
Okay, so I want you to review those because they will come back for action next time.
Yes, yep.
And I assume that the policy committee will have or has already reviewed these.
We've talked about it. We'll talk about it more now between this month and next month. to see.
I like the fact it has in there, part of the determination about the discipline has to do with basically their grade level, their their mental level. Because honestly, from the time I started as chief in Belmont until the time I ended, we had more threats in the other building
Yeah.
than we did in this one. And that's typical, but that has to do with the age and the awareness of those kids. So honestly, should they be punished as bad as a senior if they did it? No, they should not. So there's reasons for that, and that's built into the legal system throughout it for juveniles and stuff. That's why they're handled differently than adults.
Okay. Any other comments about just knowing what we're going to be reviewing and including next time? Okay. If not,
Any questions on the legal matters? I'm pretty sure Gary can answer them for you.
just simply establish that we're an existing entity extended from the state of Iowa. It's in the code too, but whatever. We want to claim that we are an extension of the state of Iowa. Okay, moving on. November work session. Okay, now this, what do you suggest?
Well, okay.
Well, we talked about it. but
I know. The problem is that I found out today that what we talked about can't happen.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. So ICAT is, finishing up their report on our facility study. And one of the things they want to do then, once they get that done, is come in and talk to us and share what their results were. And so, I thought it might be good for us to have a work session with them, when they're done. I also think Larson Engineering will at that time have, some projected, estimates on the track. They are making projected estimates on both a 6-lane and an 8-lane track, so that we can look at that and decide what our best option is and what makes the most sense moving forward. But I think that it might be more, it would be easier for us to do those things in a work session. Originally, I thought let's meet at 6 before our next board meeting, but Chad is not able to meet that day. So is there specific times that don't work for you guys? Can I just send out some possible dates and have you guys tell me? Does that work?
I assume it's after working hours.
Yes.
Some evening. Okay. Yeah, that's too bad that they can't come.
Yeah, he's gonna be in Mayo that day. So.
There are some other pieces of information that I would hope is brought to us when we do this work session. I think we really need to know in our area, especially neighboring schools, how many of them have 6 and how many have 8-lane tracks. I really want to know that. Especially Clarion and Eagle Grove. I don't know. It's been so long since I went to Eagle Grove to a track meet or to Clarion for a track meet with my girls were running. I have no recollection, and it's probably changed since then. And then what about our conference? You know, how many have 6 and how many have 8-lane tracks? Because obviously, some of the information that Mr. Blokey brought to us would indicate that we have a better chance of doing more track meets here if we have an 8-lane track versus 6. So we'll have to compare the costs and find out what's going on in the territory and at the school district. So that's just hopeful information.
Yep, I think that sounds good.
As far as the rest of the facilities, I'll be really excited to see what the ICAT has to say.
We did get a little bit of sticker shock. We found out, we asked about the light poles and replacing those light poles.
Yeah.
Whew,
Can't we just put that off for 10 years?
it's already lasted 50. Why can't it last enough?
That's right, that's what I
So,
say.
yeah, so anyway,
The kids can still see out there and see. Them.
but I think he'll have an estimate of that for us too. So he just,
Okay. Okay, the work session is on. Okay, we're up to board comments. I have a couple of quick comments. I am always interested in knowing what the student representatives have to offer the board. For you to just tell us what's going on in school is wonderful, Will. But Will, he has known that he participates. He tells us what he thinks. There's nothing that's really controversial tonight, but there will be times when I will want to know what you two think, and what you observe from your fellow students might be helpful for this board so we stay focused on what's good for you, for the school district, and for the children who go to school. So we'll be looking for some input, and I just want you to know that. We value what you say, and frankly, some of the things that have been said by the student representatives have actually driven the policies of the schools. I can name specific things, that's true. So we're looking forward to your full participation in the meetings to come. I know you're fresh, Will. You've been here long. You're a seasoned veteran. I know that.
Don't get frustrated, the fact that you don't have a vote. Your voice does still matter here. We will listen to you. We get it. You're not a voting member of the school board, but you're an important connection to the student body for us. Okay. It's kind of hard to get a group of students here on their own to talk about issues, but you two are the voices, and you've done that in the past. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak up, Will. I know you're not afraid to speak up. I flat out know that. So don't be afraid in here to speak up, okay? We're all peers here. You're not just a student here. You are a member of the school board. Just because you don't vote doesn't make any difference to me.
Just so the public knows, there is nothing on the record that says that our senior representative is Will Hayes
Yes.
and our junior representative is Will
Yes.
Simonson, okay? So it ought to be on the record. Moving on. Anything else that you want to suggest that we consider for the future? I wish we had students here tonight. Nothing brings me more pleasure than to have student groups here telling us, or staff telling us, what they observe that's going on in their school district, both negatively and positively.
Will the FFA be back before our next meeting?
Debbie asked if they could.
Yes. Yep, that would be great.
November? Okay, yeah, they're always good.
Because they'll be right back from conference. right?
That sounds great.
They'll be bubbly.
I got one thing I just want to put out there for the board. I apologize about not being here the last couple of meetings. I've had some personal struggles in my life in the last, but I went and met with school board president and our superintendent, and I'm back. I'm sticking around. I'm here. I got to do what's best for it. But my big thing right now is the cooperation we have with NIAC. My son Jacob, we have struggled since second grade to keep him in school, to get him to school on time, to have him be here and engaged. He's doing afternoon welding at NIAC. He came home early yesterday because he's done with all of his welds right now. So his instructor said, I'm not gonna make you sit around, go home. If you have any schoolwork to do from high school, go home and get that done. So, I mean, he's getting all 9s and 10s out of his welds. He's absolutely loving it. And if we didn't have that contract with him, he wouldn't be able to do that. So it's helping us get him here in the mornings too. So I just thank you to our school and thank you to NIAC for making that available. I knew it was a good thing, and I've known students, but it's personally touching my family now. So it's amazing.
Any other comments? Discussion, future planning?
Has everybody let McKenna know if they're planning on going to IAS?
Yes.
Remember, there's a nice meal down there.
When does she need to know by?
I'll send you
Yesterday.
guys, no, I'll send you an email, and if you don't respond to the email, I'll send you a follow-up email. And if you don't respond to that, I'll probably
Call?
text you. Yeah.
I was gonna maybe text him and let him know you sent him an email.
She can be very
So I don't have to
late.
open the first one or the second one, because you're
No,
calling.
no, you can just wait for the call. By the time she calls you, you should understand that she's a little frustrated. She's like a stalker, but though she never gives up.
So I hope you're all trying to go if you can. I mean, I understand some of you just can't make it work, but, and as I said last night, bring your spouse. It's an event. Your spouse can shop all day long and then you're ready to go. will have eaten well. If I were there, I would, they always feed us well at this convention, so
Who's gonna pay for it if you're not there?
I don't know. But the meal's gonna be there. Jim's big time spender. Oh, you're not, oh, Jim, I'm sorry. We don't. Okay, any other comments? Motion? Move, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Meeting adjourned. Oh, man, it's taking way too long, 45 minutes.
Okay, understand.
Good.
I think.
We've lost 5 teachers this year already.